Hi guys, and welcome back to the Big Sew Along, where this week I finally made a shirt. I made the Lotus. This is not the first time I've made this shirt. I think it's actually just the second time. The first time, I don't know if anybody else has had this experience. The first time I made it with the collar, and I did not like the way the collar fit on the shirt, or I didn't like the way it laid over. Maybe I can't remember now. It's been a while since I did that. So this week what I did was I changed the front. I actually got inspired from the most recent issue of the Seychelles magazine that had a Lotus remake in there, and I liked the way they did the front. So I did something similar and made it more of like a wrap shirt so that it ties instead of having the buttons on the side. So the thing is with this shirt, I really like it. However, if you make it the way it's cut, the front folds over and there's a little bit of an overlap between the two fronts, but not a lot, not like a full, like a wrap shirt or something, or a wrap dress. And then you have the buttons on the outside, but then you have to figure out some sort of way to hold the inside layer down, which maybe isn't that big of a deal in some cases. I mean, you could put a snap there, but if you're just doing it as a shirt, it's more than likely going to show on the outside. And I mean, I did consider making it almost like a double breasted and putting buttons on that side, but I didn't like that idea either. Anyway, I came up with this tie variation that I'll show you today. So I cut down the front. There's a little fold over where you would actually have the buttons on the original, so I sort of just eliminated that. This is the front pattern piece for my Lotus, and to cut the front on this, all I did was establish where I wanted my ties to be, which is just pretty much right at my waist, and that was right here where this little blue mark is. I just held my pattern up in front of me on the mirror to see where that would be, and then I marked it on my pattern. And then for the front, all I did was I took my French curve and just laid it like that, and I just marked it off. I just did this on my fabric, not on the pattern piece, but I just marked it off like that, and then I just trimmed that off so that I didn't have the fold over piece. It just came straight down. I'll make this shirt again. I really am very pleased with the way it came out. I actually didn't use terribly expensive fabric for this. It's this shirt, and this is like a cotton, almost like a lawn. It's probably like a lawn. It's a little heavier than a voile, but it's lighter than a shirting weight cotton. Anyways, it came off of the thrift rack at Haberman Fabrics. That's no longer available because I got it ages ago. The other fabric I used for this was this trim, which was a 100% cotton Indian block print that I ordered from somebody off of Etsy, again, ages ago. And when I went back to look for them, they're no longer open. So I can't link to them. However, in one of the Tina Givens Facebook groups, one of the ladies over there posted a link for a different company that sells Indian block prints, and I haven't ordered anything from them or anything like that, but I did do a lot of looking around on their website, and I really like their stuff. So if I can find that link again, I'll link that for you below too, because I thought their stuff was really cool. So back to the Lotus. For the Lotus shirt, I did change the front. I shortened the body by about 2 inches, I think. And then I didn't hem it with like a full hem. I just gave it a teeny tiny, like regular rolled shirt hem at the very bottom. I did add a little bit of, what would you call it? Bias trim. It's not piping, but it's kind of like piping where where you press it flat and insert it between the two seams. You'll see when I stand up to show you the shirt. I did that between the top and the that bottom layer because this fabric has stripes in it. I don't know if you can see that. And when I cut my bottom panels I couldn't get them to line up with the top of the shirt, and I just didn't really like the way it looked like that. Again, this wasn't expensive fabric. It was really to try this shirt out. I was hoping for a wearable muslin, and I have a more than wearable muslin, so I'm happy with it. But I did put that trim in there just to sort of break that up so that it didn't look like the lines didn't look like I didn't know what I was doing, essentially. The other thing I did, you guys, is the sleeve on the Lotus is weird. It's really narrow and it's really short. So originally, I can't remember how I fixed that in the original shirt I did. Like I said, that was a long time ago. But what I did this time, I did alter the pattern. So I don't know if I did that and then made the shirt originally with the altered pattern so that it fit, or what I did. Anyways, the pattern's altered, so I had to get there somehow. What I did this time though was instead of using the Lotus sleeve, I just used the sleeve from the Bianca. It's a different. I'll show you in the clip here what it looks like, and you can see here. This is what it looks like. I added about, looks like 4 inches in length, right about midway through the arm. And I also added some width starting, mid bicep probably. And at the widest point, it looks like I added about 1/2 inch, but I definitely needed it down here too at the cuff. And that's also more like 3/4 of an inch. For the version I'm wearing today, I didn't even use the Lotus sleeve. I used the Bianca sleeve. This is the Bianca. And if I lay them like this, you can see the Bianca is wider all the way down. And it actually has like a little more room in the underarm. So even though the size here is a little bit different, actually considerably different, but it fit into the Lotus just fine as is. Now you can see here I didn't lengthen my Bianca sleeve. I just made it to here. So for the next version, if I do use the Bianca again, I will lengthen it another 2 inches so it's the same length as the Lotus altered version. It fits into the arm size perfectly fine. And in fact, I love the way it fits. I think it looks really good. I will use the sleeve for this shirt again. I think I won't even bother with the Lotus sleeve. So those are the 2 things that I did. Then I'll show you again later. I'll stand up and tool around so you can see. But instead of doing just like a regular tie on each side, I put a casing in this contrast color in the center back and ran a tie through it, and then I have a tie on each front edge so it can tie to the one in the back, and that way I have 2 sides. I have ties on each side. I'll show you right here, I hope. So it looks like this. This one goes through the front of my shirt. I just put a little buttonhole there just like you would with a regular wrap dress or wrap shirt. This one goes around the front, obviously, and this tie is actually loose inside that casing. So I can gather it up more or gather it up less as I like. I probably will end up tacking that down because it tends to just lay more flat, which is not really what I was going for. So I think I'll gather it a little bit and then tack it where I like the gathers. This is the back of my shirt, and you can see that I have marked right here on both sides where I want the tie to be. I just measured it from the front after I tried it on and decided where I wanted that to be. And this little mark right here is the center of my back. So my casing is 1 inch wide, and I think I made it about 2 inches shorter than the back of my shirt, 2 inches on both ends shorter. It's finished on all 4 edges. I just made mine a tube because I'm using really super lightweight fabric, but if you're using something heavy, you're probably going to want to just fold your edges under and finish them however you want to. So this is the center of my shirt. This is the center of my casing. I'm just going to put those right on top of each other. And I have a stripy fabric, so it's pretty easy for me to keep mine straight. And I am just gonna pin this down around the edges here. Okay, when I get this all pinned down, I'm just gonna edge stitch this down on this edge and on this edge, leaving the two ends open. That is my casing applied. I think it looks pretty good. Then on my right hand side, you can see where, again, this is the pin where I want my tie to go. And then over here, I just tried it on again and saw how far over I wanted it to cross over. So the furthest I'm going to want it to cross over is to here. So I'm going to go ahead and so when it's folded over, this would be underneath. The furthest I would want this to fold over is that far. More than likely I wouldn't want it to go that far. I probably want it to be more like that, but it can go that far. And I don't want it to be pulled through I don't want to pull my shirt through the buttonhole if I'm pulling it tighter. So I moved that over a little bit. And all I'm going to do is put a buttonhole right here. And you can see again, it's right in line with my casing on the back and where my tie is going to go on the front. So I am actually I have a little tiny piece of scrap here that I have interfaced. My fabric is very lightweight, so you may not need to do this, but you might want to depending on what your fabric is. I'm just going to sew my buttonhole over this. This is going to go underneath, and I'm going to sew my buttonhole right there. Okay, I've made 3 ties, 2 shorter ones for the front edges, and then one long one that's going to go through our casing in the back. You can really make your ties any size you want. The only thing is they need to be long enough altogether to go around your body, and then they need to be narrow enough to go through your casing that we put on the back. So now the front ties, this is the front of our shirt, the right side of the front of our shirt. I am going to just pin these. This is where I want my ties to be. There's the pin where I want this tie to be. I'm pinning them to the wrong side of my shirt like this so that they're facing inwards towards the shirt. And I'm just going to baste those on. And then I'm going to bind the whole front edge of my shirt. When I do my binding, I'm going to go right over this. So it'll be facing the wrong direction. And then when we're done doing the binding, then I'll show you how we're going to make those ties come out the right direction. But for right now, we just want to baste them to the wrong side of the shirt facing inward so that the loose end of your tie is inside. Also, when you go to put your binding on, you just want to be sure that you're not catching any of this in your sewing. You want just this raw edge to be caught in there. We're just going to string this through. Just like that. Oh, and we have one more thing to do, what I was going to say with these front ties. So right now our ties are attached like this underneath our bias tape, and they're on the wrong side of our shirt. In order to keep them, to make them lay nicely when you're finished, just edge stitch those two, or you can even hand tack it if you want, right here. Just stitch that to this edge so that when you're using it, this edge doesn't flip out like that. Okay. Anyway, I love the way that it came out. A couple of other things I did. I made a big cuff that I folded to the outside. I just did it like a facing, folded it to the outside, and I made another window pocket. This time I serged the edges, so it came out fine. So next up is our cuff. And this fabric is just, it's a scrap, but it's just folded in half. So obviously like that. Oops, and it's not even. That was dangerous. There we go, should be like that. Okay, there we go. So, and remember, we're using the Bianca sleeve, not the Lotus sleeve. So that's what this is the Bianca. And you'll see here, these have these little places here for pleats or tucks or gathers or whatever you want to do. I'm not doing that on this one. I'm just leaving it as is, so it's a tiny bit flared. I'm going to use this, and I've decided I want my cuff to be about 3 inches long, so I'm using a 1/2 inch seam allowance at the hem, and I'll use a 1/2 inch seam allowance at the top of the cuff. That means I need this to be 4 inches, and I've made a little mark right here where that is, so I'm going to lay that folded edge right up against the folded edge, and I have my little mark for the end of my sleeve right there, and I'm just going to cut that out. Okay, so that'll be our cuff. Now, this is the wider edge of this is the hem end. You may need to mark that so you remember it when you get to your sewing machine. This is the wider end is the hem end. This end you're going to want to finish. I sew this together, finish that top edge. So it looks like this. That's the hem. There's my side seam, and I finished mine just by folding it under my 1/2 inch, pressing it under so that it'll be nice and clean when we're done. After you get it to look like this, we're just going to sew it right sides together to the inside of your shirt at the hem, then just like that, and then you're gonna pull it out, do your understitching, press that seam open or up so it looks like that, and you'll then just edge stitch this edge that we have folded under. We'll just get edge stitched to the top of your shirt. And I think that's all I have today, guys. I will, as usual, show you some pictures of me in this top so you can see how it came out. I'm wearing it today with a pink acetate sugar slip. I love this slip. I've made it a few times. Pink acetate. I mean, pink is fine. The acetate, I love it in a slip. And I don't know if anybody else saw this a few years ago. I saw in some boutiques some like really cute like wrinkled kind of dresses, and when I looked at them I was like, these are like lining acetate. I could totally do that. So I did do that. I bought this pink acetate, gosh, it was probably 2 or 3 years ago now, and I made this slip, and I really love the slip, but we'll never ever use acetate again. It burns like crazy. It's like nylon. I mean, it's just really, anyways, if you can avoid, you know, scorching it, it's cool for some stuff, but it's not very breathable, and yeah, it's not for somebody who's an amateur presser, I can tell you that. So today I'm wearing it with, this is my Lotus shirt. I'm wearing it with my pink acetate sugar slip. I do feel like I would like this better if I had a 3rd layer. So maybe if I had a pair of pants underneath it, like a pair of navy blue plinka pants maybe. I don't know. I don't have them today. I do have a pair, but they're in the laundry like usual. So this is what I got. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this, and I look forward to seeing you guys all next week. Bye.